morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio. So today, I am here to bring you some news about some lovely new item cards, which are going to be coming out in the Pokemon TCG. They are going to be coming out for us in Chilling Reign. They are in Jet Black, Poltergeist, and Silver Lance over in Japan. And we need to start off. Our translations, of course, all come from the lovely Antoine Boulet. By now, I'm assuming you probably guessed that. And we need to go ahead and start off having a look at some Pokemon Tool cards, which might end up looking just a little bit repetitive. You see, ladies and gentlemen, what we are getting, well, a bunch of gloves, basically. We are getting breakthrough gloves, which seem kind of cool. And we are also going to be getting gardening gloves. And we are also going to be getting gloves of justice. But these are going to look very, very similar because it's only been a couple of days since I showed you heat-proof gloves. And that is extremely relevant because heat-proof gloves is basically these. Or fireproof gloves, Antoine translated it as. My apologies. Now, fireproof gloves, I told you the other day, were Pokemon tool cards that when they are attached to a Pokemon, deal an extra 30 damage to your opponent's active fire-type Pokemon. And at this stage, you're probably beginning to figure out what the deal is with all of these gloves. And I'm going to have to stop in a second and go and make sure I haven't forgotten any of them. Now, some of them are really obvious, some of them are less so. Obviously, gardening gloves do an extra 30 damage to grass Pokemon. Your opponent's active grass-type Pokemon. Now, gloves of justice do an extra 30 damage to your opponent's active darkness-type Pokemon, which is not quite the same. It's a little bit weird, but it will do. And breakthrough gloves do an extra 30 damage to your opponent's active metal-type Pokemon. And you'll have to forgive me here, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm going to make a fairly reckless but also fairly obvious prediction. Yeah, we're going to get more of these. Because at the moment, we've got these item cards that deal extra damage to fire, grass, darkness, and metal Pokemon. And I'm fairly sure we're going to get them for all the other typings as well. Obviously going to be really interesting to see if we get one that does an extra 30 to Dragon Pokemon. Bearing in mind we are waiting to see if Dragon Pokemon are coming back or are gone forever. So, I mean, look, essentially my thoughts on these are exactly the same as when we looked at fireproof gloves a few days back. It really just depends on matchups and numbers. If there is a particular matchup where you need to do an extra 30 damage to get a one-hit KO on one of these relevant Pokemon, do it. If you've got a Pokemon that's hitting somewhere between 190 and 200 on a Zacian, then absolutely go and get breakthrough gloves that will put you up over the limit to get a KO on Zacian. The reason 210 isn't an issue, if you're hitting 210 and you want to hit 220, Vitality Band is way better because it will do an extra 10 damage to anything, whereas breakthrough gloves is only to metal Pokemon. So it really is as simple as that. And I love having these in the format. No, I don't think they're going to do a huge amount of good all the time. But if I'm hitting 280, 290 against the Victini V Max, I want fireproof gloves. That is pretty gosh darned important to me. Otherwise, I probably don't. But I love having them as options because anytime you've got a particular matchup, this may well end up being the thing that lets you hit the numbers to get the KO. How often in these videos have I said, we're 10, 20 away from getting the KO that we need? Well, this will get you there, ladies and gentlemen, and it will get you there for 4 different typings. Like I've said, I feel extremely confident that the other typings are going to be coming along in the future as well. I can't say that for absolute certain, but if you look back at the history of the Pokemon trading card game, this is the kind of thing they do. They'll introduce 4 types in one set, And then the next set will have another 4. And it'll probably be over in a couple of sets is what I'm going for. But I think it's fair to say this is absolutely happening. And I, for one, am absolutely okay with it. But if that's not enough Pokemon tools for you, might I introduce you to Rough Helmet? It is a Pokemon tool card that says, whenever the active Pokemon this card is attached to is damaged by an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, choose an energy attached to the attacking Pokemon and put it into your opponent's hand. When they attack you, they lose an energy. And some of you might be thinking, well, hang on a second, that sounds a little bit familiar, and it does. It is pretty much the Stunfisk from Sword and Shield. Now, it's not entirely, because Rough Helmet puts the energy into your opponent's hand, the Stunfisk from Sword and Shield discards it. But, and look, I know the attack on Stunfisk isn't great, but come on. Let's go ahead and make an energy denial deck with Stunfisk and Rough Helmet. Come on, let's do it. Tell me that doesn't sound like fun. Every time your opponent attacks, they lose 2 energy. You don't need to be doing a huge amount of damage in order to be able to take advantage of that. To be fair, if you flip tails, you're only doing 30, but add in Glimwood Tangle, cross your fingers, and let's do this, ladies and gentlemen. Let's do this. In reality, this is really cool. This is extremely cool. Now, it is when you are damaged. So things like Altered Creation GX, it actually wouldn't work, because that is an attack that doesn't do any damage, so you wouldn't get rid of an energy, which of course is super relevant, because when they use that, they want to attach a third energy and start using Ultimate Ray to accelerate more energy, take cheeky KOs, etc. It's not going to work against them here, and yes, that is a little bit sad, but I'll tell you something for nothing, this is kind of cool. Again, this is a very, very matchup dependent card. And it really is as simple as that. There are going to be some matchups where this is absolutely amazingly, brilliantly, awesomely, stunningly wonderful. And there are going to be other matchups where it's just not that good. Where you're against single energy attackers or decks that play a bunch of energy acceleration. Like against a Frostmoth deck where they can just attach energy from their hand as often as they like, it's not going to do anything at all. But there are going to be plenty of times where this absolutely does come in super handy. And for that reason, let's go ahead and give it between 3 and 4 Wassies. We don't give half Wassies, that would be barbaric. I don't think it is an every deck kind of card, but if the meta goes to the way, take someone like Eternatus, they lose an energy, they're in trouble. But then again, once they've got 2 energy on, they attack, they lose an energy, they reattach. But it means they're not building up a spare Eternatus on their bench, so as soon as you take a KO, you're good to go. They've run out of energy. That's what I'm thinking here. Forcing the active Eternatus to keep attaching so they don't build up a bench, so when you take the KO, you basically win the game. That is a kind of time where this is absolutely going to shine. It is not for every deck. It is not for every matchup. But when it can work, this is looking very, very cool indeed. And finally, we have one more item card we need to take a little bit of a look at. And as a nice little bonus here, it is an actual item card. It's not a Pokemon tool, which we've been looking at up till now. It is an actual factual item card, and it fits the camping theme that we've seen from some cards lately. It is Survival Kit. It is an item card that reads, look at the 3 cards from the bottom of your deck, rearrange them as you like, and put them on the top of your deck. And frankly, ladies and gentlemen, this is, well, it's weird, but it's also kind of useful. Like, one of my first thoughts here, and I'm assuming it was for a bunch of you, was Marnie. You see, one of the things Marnie does, it doesn't just give you a new hand, it forces you to shuffle your hand and put it on the bottom of your deck. And sometimes you've got your last boss's orders, or your last 2 boss's orders, or whatever, in hand, so when your opponent does that, it guarantees you're not drawing boss's orders. And sure, you can play any kind of searching card, quick ball, whatever, and then shuffle your deck, and then it's random. But you can play something like this, and there's a decent chance you're going to hit that boss's orders, and you can put it on top of your deck. And then the obvious combo we need to go for here is Oranguru. You see, Oranguru comes along, and it's got that phenomenal ability that lets you swap a card in your hand with the top card of your deck. And that is where this comes in so gosh darned handy. Because what you essentially do is you put the card you really want on top of your deck, and then you use Oranguru to go ahead and just switch and make sure that you've got that card that you want here. Of course, if you're going to do it for that, we've still got Rotom Phone. And Rotom Phone looks at the top 5 cards of your deck, and you put one on top of your deck and you shuffle the others in. Now, admittedly, this will let you keep all 3 on top of your deck in the order you want, but a lot of the time, that's not actually the way we want to do it. A lot of the time, we want to get the best card, because it's rare that we've got 3 awesome draws in a row. It happens, don't get me wrong, it happens, but it's rare. So a lot of the time, the better way to do it is to grab one card and shuffle in. Take your chances. Go from there. And the fact of the matter is, this lets you see more cards. So if you're just trying to fix the top card of your deck, I think Rotom Phone is a better card. If you are trying to counter things like Marnie and other cards that make you put stuff on the bottom of your deck, then this becomes a really good card. But the fact of the matter is, in a world where Rotom Phone has basically seen no play, I'm not sure Survival Kit is either. I'm giving it an extremely generous free Wassies, like a proper generous free Wassies. I could easily drop it down. I don't think it's a stunning card, but I do think it's a really interesting card, and I do think there are going to be reasons to play it. And the other thing to bear in mind is, we don't know what's going to happen in the future. There is absolutely a possibility that at some point in the future we do get a new card which comes along and is played everywhere and messes with cards and puts them on the bottom of your deck. And at that stage, this becomes a far better proposition. But now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to hear from you guys. I want to know what you think about these, so let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWazzy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.